The story of Amaterasu, goddess of the sun. Japanese mythology. Long before the time we know it, there were two creator gods, Izanagi and Izanami. Together, they shaped the islands of Japan and many gods. But tragedy struck when Izanami died while giving birth to the god of fire. Devastated, Izanagi decided to descend to the world of the dead, Yomi, to try to bring his beloved back. There he found Izanami, but not as before. Her body was already decomposing. Taken by darkness, horrified, Izanagi fled, with the creatures of Yomi chasing him. When he finally escaped, he felt he needed to purify himself. Then he performed a cleansing ritual on the banks of a sacred river. He washed his entire body. Every part that touched the water gave birth to new gods, and it was when he washed his left eye that Amaterasu was born. An intense light took over the place. It was a radiant presence, strong and at the same time serene. Amaterasu Omikami, the goddess of the sun, had come into the world. Soon after, when he washed his right eye, Tsukuyomi, the god of the moon, was born. And when he washed his nose, Susanoo, the god of storms and chaos, was born. These three brothers would be the center of many powerful stories that would mark the heavens, the earth, and even the destiny of Japan. But among them, Amaterasu stood out. Hers was the light that would illuminate the heavens and bring warmth to life on earth. After being born from Izanagi's purification, Susanoo, the god of storms, grew rebellious and unstable. While his sister Amaterasu shone like the sun in the heavens, he was impulsive, restless like the wind, and violent like thunder. His father Izanagi gave him dominion over the seas, but Susanoo did not want to fulfill his role. He cried, screamed, and caused confusion wherever he went, so he was expelled from his father's presence. Before leaving, Susanoo decided to visit his sister Amaterasu in the celestial kingdom of Takamagahara. She received him with distrust, knowing that her brother was not trustworthy. To prove that he came in peace, Susanoo proposed a challenge. "Whoever generates more pure gods will have proven the sincerity of his heart," he said. Amaterasu took Susanoo's sword, which was a male symbol, broke it into pieces, and washed it in a sacred river. From the ritual, 3 goddesses were born. Susanoo in turn took Amaterasu's sacred necklace made of Magatama stones and also purified it. From this act, 5 gods emerged. He claimed immediate victory, saying that he had created more deities, but Amaterasu replied that the 5 gods were born from her necklace, and that therefore the merit was his. After the test was over, and Susanoo saw that his sister had beaten him in the test, he began to demonstrate his true intentions, which were not as pure as he said, and began to act violently. He destroyed the heavenly rice fields, uprooted sacred crops in a fury, and in a grotesque act, threw excrement into Amaterasu's palace. But the worst was yet to come. During a sacred ritual, Amaterasu was weaving celestial garments with her servants. Suddenly, Susanoo threw the body of a dead celestial horse into the hall, breaking the roof. One of the servants, terrified, ended up dying in the incident. This was too much for Amaterasu. She was shocked, hurt, humiliated. And then, she made a decision that would change everything. She went into hiding. She locked herself in a sacred cave, isolating her light from the world, and the earth was plunged into eternal darkness. Humiliated, disgusted, and deeply hurt by her brother's violence, Amaterasu, the goddess of the sun, decided to disappear. She went to a sacred cave called Ame-no-Iwato and sealed the entrance with a gigantic stone. The moment its light disappeared, the world was covered in total darkness. The fields withered, the rivers grew cold, evil spirits began to spread, and humans lost hope. Without the light of the sun, the order and harmony of the world were broken. The gods of the sky were in despair. Without Amaterasu, there was no balance. So they all gathered outside the cave to think of a way to bring her back. That's when a goddess named Ame-no-Uzume, known for her cheerfulness and boldness, had an idea. She climbed onto an overturned wooden tub, lit a torch, and began to dance. But it was no ordinary dance. She took off part of her clothes, stamped her feet, shook her shoulders, and her movements became more and more daring. The gods burst out, laughing. They laughed loudly, as if they were celebrating something great. Deep inside the cave, Amaterasu heard the noise. Curious, she thought. How can they laugh when the world is plunged into darkness? Driven by doubt, she opened a small space in the stone to peer out. At that moment, the gods placed a shining mirror in front of the entrance. When Amaterasu looked out, she saw her own reflection. She was fascinated. She had never seen herself before, and the light coming from the mirror was as beautiful as her own essence. At that moment, the god Ame-no-Tajikarao, hiding beside the entrance, forcefully pulled the goddess out. Quickly, the gods sealed the cave so that she could not return to her hiding place. The sunlight once again shone in the sky. The world grew warm again. The shadows receded, and the natural order was restored. Amaterasu then accepted her place high in the heavens, but with a new understanding. The world needed her light, and she needed the world too. After Amaterasu returned to the world and the sunlight once again shone upon the heavens and the earth, the goddess began to observe the world with a more attentive eye. She saw that down there men were lost. Justice, wisdom, and harmony were lacking. So she made a decision that would change the history of Japan forever. She would send one of her divine descendants to rule the earth. This chosen one was his grandson, Ninigi no Mikoto. Young, noble, and brave, Ninigi was assigned to descend to earth and restore order to the human world. But he would not go alone. Before he left, Amaterasu entrusted him with 3 sacred artifacts, each of which carried a power and a divine symbol. The Yata no Kagami mirror represented wisdom and truth. The Kusanagi no Tsurugi sword represented courage and the power to protect. The Yasakani no Magatama necklace represented benevolence, purity, and spiritual connection. Ninigi descended to the world on Mount Takachiho, and thus began the lineage of the emperors of Japan, a lineage that, according to tradition, descends directly from the goddess of the sun. To this day, the 3 sacred treasures are part of the coronation ritual of a new Japanese emperor. Although kept secret, their existence is revered. They represent more than power. They are a reminder that a goddess once looked down upon humanity and entrusted it with the light of the heavens. If you like this story, leave your like to support the channel, and subscribe to Realms of Mythology to discover more fascinating legends of gods, monsters, and heroes from around the world. See you in the next myth. Until then.